the night shift at a hospital. 3 horror stories. I didn't expect the hospital to feel like that at night. During the day, it was loud, busy, full of voices, footsteps, machines, people moving in every direction. At night, it felt completely different. Empty. Too empty. I started my shift just before midnight. The nurse at the front desk handed me a list of patients, gave a quick rundown of the rooms, and said, "If anything happens, just call." Simple. Easy. That's what I thought. The hallway stretched out in front of me, long, pale, lit by dim fluorescent lights that buzzed quietly overhead. Some of them flickered, not enough to go out, just enough to feel unstable. I walked slowly past the rooms, checking numbers, matching them to the list. Everything seemed normal, doors closed, lights off, machines silent. But something felt wrong. Not in a specific way, just off. Like the hospital wasn't asleep, like it was waiting. I stopped near the middle of the corridor, glancing down at the list again. Room 3, room 5, room 7. Everything matched. Then I looked up. Further down the hallway, a light was on. Room 12. And for some reason, that room wasn't on the list. I stood there for a moment, staring at the light under the door. Room 12. It wasn't flickering like the others. It was steady. Too steady. My chest tightened as I looked back down at the list, running my finger over the numbers again. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, then 14. Room 12 wasn't there. Not crossed out, not marked, just missing. I glanced back at the hallway. The door was slightly open now, just a crack. I was sure it hadn't been before. I hadn't heard it open. I hadn't seen anyone go in. But the light was definitely on. I swallowed slowly, telling myself it was nothing. A mistake. An old room still in use. Something simple. I took a step closer, and then another. The hallway felt longer now, quieter. Like the rest of the hospital had moved further away. I reached the door, stopped, list in one hand, other hand hovering near the handle. I leaned slightly forward, just enough to look inside. There was someone in the bed, sitting upright, facing the door, perfectly still. And in that moment, something became clear. If that room wasn't on the list, then whoever was inside it wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't open the door fully, just pushed it a little wider, enough to see the bed. The patient was sitting upright, back straight, hands resting on the blanket, facing me, but not moving, not reacting. My chest tightened as I stepped just inside the room, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. "Hello?" I said quietly. No response. The machines beside the bed were off. No heart monitor, no IV, nothing connected. Just the bed and the patient. I took another step closer. "Are you okay?" I asked. Still nothing. No breathing sound, no movement, not even a blink. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay calm. Maybe they were asleep. Maybe sedated. But that didn't make sense. You don't sit like that when you're asleep. You don't face the door. You don't stay that still. I shifted slightly. The floor creaked. And that's when it changed. Not the body, the head. Just a small movement. A slight tilt. Slow. Controlled. Like it had just noticed me. My chest tightened instantly. Because that wasn't a reaction to sound. That was a reaction to me. And in that moment, moment, something became impossible to ignore. It hadn't been waiting for someone to enter the room. It had been waiting for someone to look at it. I didn't move closer. Didn't step back either. I just stood there, staring at the patient, trying to convince myself this was normal. It wasn't. The way they sat, the way they looked at me, too aware, too still. I forced myself to look away, reaching for the chart at the end of the bed. If they were here, there had to be a record, a name, something. My hand trembled slightly as I picked it up and flipped it open. Blank. No name, no notes, no vitals, nothing. Just empty pages. My chest tightened. That didn't make sense. Every patient had a chart. Every room had documentation. That was the system. That was how things worked. I looked back at the patient, still sitting there, still watching me. I swallowed hard and tried again. Can you tell me your name? Silence. No response. Not even a blink. I looked back down at the chart, still blank. Then, slowly, something appeared. Faint at first, like ink bleeding through the paper, letters forming one by one. My chest tightened as I stared at it, because I already knew what it was going to spell. And when the name finished writing itself, it wasn't theirs. It was mine. I dropped the chart. It hit the floor louder than it should have. Too loud. The sound echoed through the room, but the patient didn't react, didn't move, still sitting there, still watching me. My chest tightened as I stepped back slightly, my eyes flicking between the chart on the floor and the bed. No, I whispered, because that didn't make sense. None of this did. Then a sound, soft, rhythmic, behind me. I froze, because I knew that sound, a heart monitor beeping, slow, steady. I turned. The machine beside the bed was on, screen lit, lines moving, alive. My chest tightened instantly, because I hadn't touched it. No one had, and yet it was running. I looked back at the patient, still sitting there, no wires, no sensors, nothing connected. Then back to the monitor. The line spiked. Beep. Another. Beep. I swallowed hard, because the rhythm felt wrong. Not irregular, not broken. Too consistent. Like it wasn't measuring a heart, it was counting something. And in that moment, something became clear. The monitor wasn't connected to the patient. It was connected to me. I tried to slow my breathing, just to test it, just to prove this wasn't real. Inhale, hold, exhale. The monitor followed. Exactly. Beep, pause, beep. My chest tightened instantly, because that wasn't possible. There were no sensors on me, no wires, no connection. And yet, it matched me perfectly. I forced myself to breathe faster, short, uneven, panicked. The line on the screen reacted instantly, spiking, dropping, matching every change, every shift, no delay, no error. Like it wasn't reading me. It was synchronized with me. I stepped back again, my heart pounding harder now, and the monitor grew louder, faster, stronger, filling the room. Then I stopped breathing just for a second. The monitor went flat, silent, no beep, no movement, nothing. My chest tightened as I gasped, pulling in air again, and the monitor snapped back to life. Beep, beep, beep. Louder now, closer. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't tracking me. It was controlling the rhythm. And if it stopped, so would I. I forced myself to keep breathing, steady, controlled, because now every change mattered. The monitor followed perfectly, but something else changed. The room felt heavier, like something was waiting for me to make a mistake. I stood there, trying not to move too much, trying not to panic. Then I froze, just for a second, barely noticeable. And that's when it happened. The patient moved, not fast, not sudden, just adjusted. A slight shift in posture. Closer to the edge of the bed, my chest tightened instantly. Because I hadn't moved, I hadn't made a sound, and yet it reacted. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to move again, just a small step. The patient stopped, completely, frozen. I froze again, just to test it, and slowly, very slowly, the patient leaned forward, closer. My chest tightened, because now the pattern was clear. It didn't move when I did. It moved when I stopped. And in that moment, something became impossible to ignore. If I stayed still long enough, it wouldn't just lean forward. It would get off the bed. I couldn't stay still, not even for a second. I forced myself to move again, shifting my weight, taking small steps, anything to keep the pattern from continuing. The patient stopped instantly, halfway forward, frozen again. My chest tightened as I kept pacing inside the room, my eyes locked on it, afraid to even blink. Because now I knew exactly what would happen if I did. I stopped, just for a fraction of a second, and it moved again, closer, not standing yet, but no longer sitting fully on the bed, its feet touching the floor now. My breath caught. I stepped again. It froze, exactly where it was. I swallowed hard, my breathing uneven, and then another test. I paused, and it moved again, closer. Each time, just a little more. Each time, less distance, until it was clear. It didn't need to rush. It didn't need to chase. It just needed me to hesitate. And in that moment, something became undeniable. The longer I stayed in the room, the less time I had before it was standing right in front of me. I backed toward the door, slowly, carefully, never taking my eyes off it. The patient stayed frozen, half standing, waiting. My chest tightened as I reached behind me, my hand searching for the handle. If I could just leave, if I could just step out, maybe this would stop. Maybe it was just the room, just this place. My fingers touched the handle, cold, real. I grabbed it and pulled. Nothing. I tried again, harder. The door didn't move. My chest tightened instantly because I hadn't closed it. I knew I hadn't. I glanced back at it. The door was shut, completely. No gap, no light from the hallway, just solid, locked. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to breathe, because that meant I wasn't leaving. Not yet. Then, behind me, a sound, fabric shifting, a foot moving. I froze for a second, and that was enough, because in that moment, I took another step, and now it wasn't at the bed anymore. It was standing on the floor right behind me. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, because I already knew. The sound wasn't distant anymore. It wasn't from the bed. It was right behind me, close enough that I could feel it, not touching, but there. My chest tightened as I gripped the door handle harder, trying to force it open, trying to get out, but it didn't move. Nothing moved, except it. I swallowed hard, my breathing uneven, because now I understood the rule. Movement kept distance. Stillness closed it, and I had stopped, even for a second. That was enough. I forced myself to move again, just a small shift, and the presence behind me stopped immediately, holding position, right there. I could feel it near my shoulder now, too close, closer than it should have been. I clenched my jaw, refusing to turn, refusing to react, because I knew if I looked, it would be there, right in front of me. And in that moment, something became clear. It didn't need to chase me. It had already reached me. And now, it was waiting for me to acknowledge that it was there. I kept my eyes on the door. Didn't turn. Didn't look. Because now I understood. Seeing it directly wasn't necessary. Feeling it was enough. The air behind me felt heavier, closer, like the space itself was occupied. My chest tightened as I forced myself to move again, just enough to keep it from getting closer. The presence stopped, still there, right behind me, not fading, not leaving, just waiting. I swallowed hard, trying to think. The monitor, the breathing, the movement, it all followed patterns, so this had to as well. Then, a sound, not from behind me, from the room. A second shift, somewhere near the wall, and my chest tightened instantly, because that meant there wasn't just one. I glanced slightly to the side, not turning fully, just enough. And in the reflection of the dark window, I saw it. Two shapes, one behind me, one near the corner, both still, both watching. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't the patient anymore. It was something else. And now, it wasn't alone. I didn't move. Not because I chose not to, because I couldn't process it. Two of them. One behind me, one in the corner. Both still, both watching. But only one of them followed the rule. The one behind me moved when I stopped. I knew that. I understood it. The pattern made sense. But the second one didn't. My chest tightened as I kept my eyes fixed forward, trying not to look directly at the reflection again, because something felt different about it. Wrong. Then a sound from the corner. Not a step, not a shift, a movement, continuous, slow, deliberate. I froze, and it didn't stop. I kept moving, even though I wasn't. My chest tightened instantly, because that broke the pattern. That meant it didn't follow the same rules. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to move again. The one behind me stopped, but the one in the corner didn't. It kept moving, closer. And in that moment, something became clear. The first one needed me to stop. The second one didn't need anything at all. I forced myself to move, just enough to keep the one behind me from getting closer. Step, shift, anything. They stopped instantly, still right behind me. Close, too close. But the one in the corner kept moving, slow, controlled, not rushing, not reacting, just approaching. My chest tightened as I realized I couldn't track both of them at the same time. If I focused on one, I lost the other. If I stopped, one moved faster. If I moved, the other didn't care. Then something changed. Behind me. A slight shift, not forward, not closer, different. I froze for a fraction of a second, and that's when I understood. It had adapted. The one behind me was no longer waiting for me to stop completely. It was moving during my hesitation, during the moments between movement, the gaps, the pauses I didn't even notice. My chest tightened as I tried to move more consistently. But it didn't matter. It had learned. And now, both of them were getting closer at the same time. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It wasn't just about following rules anymore. They were changing them. The light above the bed flickered once, then again, short, unstable. My chest tightened as I glanced up instinctively just for a second. And that was enough. The room changed, not fully, just slightly. The corners felt darker, the walls further away, like the space had stretched. Then the light flickered again, longer this time, almost going out. And in that brief dimness, I saw it, the one in the corner, closer than before, much closer. Closer than it should have been able to move in that time. My chest tightened as I forced myself to move again. The one behind me stopped, but the second one kept coming. The light buzzed overhead, then dimmed again, and this time it didn't come back fully. Half light, uneven, wrong. I swallowed hard, trying to think, because now the rule had changed again. It wasn't just movement. It wasn't just stillness. It was the light. And in that moment, something became clear. Every time the light dropped, it got closer. And eventually, the light wouldn't come back at all. The flicker came again, longer this time. Then, darkness. Complete. The light above the bed died instantly, leaving the room in total black. Not dim, not shadowed. Gone. My chest tightened as I froze for a split second, then forced myself to move again. Because now, I couldn't see them. Not the one behind me, not the one in the corner. But I knew. They were still there, closer than before. My breathing sounded too loud in the silence. Each step I took felt wrong, uncertain, like the floor wasn't where I expected it to be. Then, a sound, right next to me. Not behind, not in front, beside, a step, soft, controlled. Then, another, from the other side, matching. My chest tightened as I kept moving faster now, even though I couldn't see anything. Because now, distance didn't matter. Light didn't matter. The rules didn't matter. And in that moment, something became undeniable. They didn't need me to stop anymore. They didn't need me to look. They didn't need anything. Because now, they were already close enough. The darkness didn't lift. It stayed thick, heavy, like it had weight. I kept moving, or at least I tried to, but without light. I couldn't tell if I was actually going anywhere. My steps felt the same. The space didn't change. Then, a voice, not from the hallway, not from the bed, right next to me. Daniel. My chest tightened instantly, because it wasn't loud. It didn't echo. It didn't sound distant. It sounded present, like someone standing beside me, close enough to whisper. I didn't answer. I didn't react. I just kept moving, because I knew acknowledging it would change something. The voice came again, softer, closer. You can stop now. My breathing became uneven, because it sounded calm, not threatening, not aggressive, like it was offering something, like it knew I was tired, and it was right. And then, from the other side, another voice, same tone, same words. You can stop. My chest tightened because now they weren't just around me, they were speaking. And in that moment, something became clear. It wasn't trying to scare me. It was trying to convince me that stopping was safe. The darkness didn't last forever. It lifted, not gradually, all at once. The light snapped back on above the bed. Bright, harsh, normal. For a second, I just stood there, blinking, trying to adjust, trying to convince myself it was over. Then I looked at the bed, and my chest tightened instantly. It wasn't empty. Someone was lying there now, flat on their back, covered up to the chest, perfectly still. I swallowed hard, stepping back slightly, my eyes locked on it, because that hadn't been there before. The patient had been sitting, then standing, then behind me, and now someone was in the bed again. I forced myself to breathe, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it had returned. Maybe it had reset. Then the chest moved, slow, measured, breathing. My chest tightened, because that meant it was alive. I stepped closer, just one step. And the moment I did, its eyes opened, wide, immediate. And in that moment, something became undeniable. I wasn't the same patient. And it wasn't something new. It was something that had just taken a different position. I froze, staring at it. Because the moment its eyes opened, they didn't close. Not once. No blink. No movement. Just open. Locked on me. My chest tightened as I forced myself to breathe, trying to stay calm, trying to understand what I was looking at. Because it wasn't reacting like a person. It wasn't confused. It wasn't waking up. It was already aware, already focused, already watching. I took a small step to the side just to test it. The head didn't move. The body didn't move. But the eyes followed perfectly, tracking me without delay, without effort. I swallowed hard, my breathing uneven. Then I stopped, just for a second, and the eyes stopped tracking, fixed, locked, waiting. My chest tightened, because that meant it followed movement, just like before. But this time, it didn't need to move its body. It only needed to watch. And in that moment, something became clear. It wasn't trying to get closer anymore. It was waiting for me to realize that I couldn't move without it knowing exactly where I was. I didn't get closer. Didn't step back either. I just stood there, watching it watch me. Because now, every movement mattered. The eyes followed perfectly. Then, something changed. Not the eyes, not the head, the sheet. Covering its body, it shifted, just slightly. My chest tightened instantly, because it didn't move like fabric. It moved like something underneath it, adjusting, repositioning. I froze, and the moment I did, the sheet rose, slow, controlled, like something was sitting up beneath it. But the upper body didn't move, still flat, still facing the ceiling, eyes still locked on me. My breathing became uneven, because that meant something else was under the sheet. Not the patient, not the body I could see. Something separate, something inside the same space. And then, very slowly, the sheet began to slide down, not pulled, not lifted, just moving, revealing shape beneath it. Too many angles, too many joints, wrong. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Whatever was under the sheet wasn't the same thing that was looking at me. The The sheet kept sliding, slow, controlled, like it wasn't being pulled, like something underneath it was expanding. My chest tightened as more of the shape became visible, not clear, not defined, but wrong. Too many bends, too many points where there shouldn't be any. The body on the bed, still flat, still facing up, still watching me, but beneath it, something else moved, larger, pressing against the fabric, stretching it outward. The mattress dipped, and then shifted, like it couldn't support the weight, like whatever was under there wasn't meant to fit. I swallowed hard, stepping back slowly, because now it wasn't contained. The edges of the bed creaked, the frame strained, and then a limb, not matching the body above, not matching anything human, pressed against the sheet from underneath, trying to push through. My chest tightened because the bed was too small for it. And in that moment, something became clear. It hadn't been lying there. It had been hiding there. And whatever it really was bigger than the space it had chosen to stay in. I couldn't look away, even though I knew I should, even though every instinct told me to move, to leave, to stop watching, because now there were two things on that bed. The body on top, still, perfect, watching me, and the thing underneath, moving, growing, pressing outward. My chest tightened as I focused on the face again, because something about it felt wrong. Not the eyes, not the expression, the stillness. Too perfect, too controlled, like it wasn't breathing, like it wasn't alive. Then I noticed it. The chest. It wasn't rising anymore, not even slightly. No movement, no breath. And yet, the eyes stayed open, still watching, still aware. My breathing became uneven, because that meant the body wasn't alive. It wasn't a patient. It wasn't anything real. It was a surface, a cover, something placed there to look human, to look safe, to keep attention on it, while something else moved underneath. And in that moment, something became undeniable. The thing under the sheet wasn't inside the body. The body was placed on top of it. The sheet stopped moving. For a moment, everything froze. The body, the shape underneath, the room. My chest tightened as I stood there, waiting, trying to understand what would happen next. Then, the bed shifted, not slightly, not gently. It dipped hard, like something underneath it was pushing up. The body on top didn't react, didn't resist, didn't move naturally. It just lifted, rising with whatever was beneath it. My breathing became uneven, because that wasn't how a person sat up. It wasn't muscle. It wasn't control. It was being moved. The upper body lifted first, then the torso, then the legs, but not in sequence, all at once. Wrong. Like it didn't understand how joints worked. The head tilted slightly, still facing me, still watching. The sheet slid off completely, revealing more of what was underneath. Too long, too many angles, too many limbs. And in that moment, something became clear. It wasn't standing up like a person. It was unfolding. The frame cracked, sharp, loud. The bed couldn't hold it anymore. Whatever was underneath pushed upward, and the mattress gave way, collapsed. The body on top slid slightly, but didn't fall. It stayed upright, balanced, like it wasn't affected by gravity the same way. My chest tightened as I stepped back instinctively, my eyes locked on it. Because now, there was nothing hiding it. No sheet, no bed, no cover. Just the shape, unfolded, standing, too tall, too wide. Parts of it still didn't match, like it hadn't finished arranging itself yet. The limbs shifted slightly, not walking, adjusting. The head, still human, still watching me, tilted again, matching me, studying. And then it stepped, not toward me, around the bed, like it was testing space, learning how to move. And in that moment, something became undeniable. It didn't need the bed anymore. It didn't need to hide. It had already figured out how to stand. It didn't rush. It didn't lunge. It didn't come at me like something trying to attack. It just practiced. One step, slow, unsteady. The joints bent in the wrong places first, then corrected, adjusted, like it was learning in real time. My chest tightened as I backed away, keeping my eyes on it, trying not to freeze, trying not to give it that advantage again. Because now, this was different. Before, it needed me to stop. Now, it was figuring out how to move on its own. It took another step, smoother this time, more controlled. The limbs aligned better, the posture corrected, the body on top, the human shape remained almost perfect. Only the movement beneath it betrayed what it really was. Then it turned, facing me fully now, standing upright, balanced, stable. My breathing became uneven because now it didn't look like something learning. It looked like something that had learned enough. And in that moment, something became clear. It wasn't copying movement anymore. It was preparing to use it. I tried to stay unpredictable. Small steps, irregular movement, anything to break whatever pattern it had been learning. But it didn't matter, because now it wasn't copying what I was doing. It was anticipating it. I shifted left. It adjusted before I finished the step. I stepped back. It matched the distance instantly. Perfect. No delay. No correction needed. My chest tightened as I tried again. Faster. Different direction. Same result. It wasn't reacting anymore. It already knew. The way I moved, the way I hesitated, the way I tried to avoid it. It had learned everything it needed. Then it stopped, completely still. My heart jumped, because that meant it didn't need to move anymore. I took a step, and this time it moved first, closing the distance, just slightly, but enough. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Before, it learned how to move. Now, it learned how to move better than me. I stepped back again. Instinct and desperation. Anything to create distance. And then a sound behind me. The door. The one I had tried earlier. The one that wouldn't open. It clicked. My chest tightened instantly as I turned my head just enough to see it. The handle moved. Slow. Deliberate. And the door opened. Wide. Not a crack. Not hesitation. Fully. Like something on the other side had decided it was time. Cold air rushed in from the hallway. The lights outside still on. Normal. Safe. Or at least they looked that way. I swallowed hard, my breathing uneven. Because now I had a way out. Finally. I stepped back toward it. One step, then another. And behind me, It didn't follow immediately. It stayed, watching, learning, waiting. And in that moment, something became clear. The door hadn't opened to let me out. It had opened to see if I would choose to leave before it was ready. I stepped into the hallway, fast, not thinking, just moving, because staying in that room wasn't an option anymore. The moment I crossed the threshold, something felt wrong. The light in the hallway, too bright, too clean, too normal. My chest tightened as I turned back slightly. The room behind me was darker now, deeper, like it had changed the moment I left it. And inside, it was still there, standing, watching, but it didn't follow. It didn't need to. I swallowed hard and turned forward again. The hallway stretched out in both directions, long, empty, silent, exactly how it had been before. But now, it didn't feel empty. It felt occupied, not visibly, not clearly, but the same way the room had felt, like something else was here, beyond what I could see. Then, a door down the hall opened, on its own, slow, controlled, just like before. My chest tightened, because that meant it wasn't just in the room. And in that moment, something became undeniable. Leaving the room didn't mean leaving it behind. It meant stepping into a place where it had more space to move. I didn't go back, even though something inside me told me to. Because now, I understood. The room wasn't the center of it. The hallway was. I looked down the corridor. Most of the lights were on. Bright, stable. But further down, one section flickered, then went out. Dark. A gap in the hallway. My chest tightened as I watched it. Because I had seen this before. In the room, light disappearing, and something moving with it. Another light flickered further ahead, and then went out, creating a path, not random, not broken, directed, leading somewhere or guiding something toward me. I swallowed hard and took a step forward, then another, because standing still didn't feel safe anymore. The light ahead flickered again. Another section went dark, closer this time. My breathing became uneven, because now it wasn't just following me. It was shaping the space ahead of me. And in that moment, something became clear. I wasn't choosing where to go. The lights were. And wherever they were leading, it wasn't somewhere I had seen before. The lights stopped flickering, all at once. The hallway ahead went completely dark, except for one place. At the very end, a single door, closed, with light coming from underneath it, steady, unlike everything else. My chest tightened as I stared at it, because now there was no other direction, no side rooms, no lit areas, just that door, waiting. I took a step forward, then another. The darkness around me didn't move, didn't shift, just stayed, like it wasn't trying to stop me anymore, like it had already decided. This was where I needed to go. I reached the door, stopped, my hand hovering near the handle. The light underneath it didn't flicker, didn't change. It felt different, safer, or at least like it wanted me to think that. I swallowed hard, because I had seen this pattern before. A door, a light, an invitation. And in that moment, something became undeniable. This wasn't an exit. It was another choice. And whatever was behind it had been waiting longer than anything else. I didn't open the door right away. I stood there, hand hovering, because now I understood the pattern, the room, the bed, the hallway. Every step had led somewhere. Every choice wasn't really a choice. It was placement, guidance. I swallowed slowly and pushed the door open. The light inside was normal, too normal. A nurse's station, monitors, chairs, a desk. Everything exactly how it should be. Empty, of course. I stepped inside. The door closed behind me, soft, final. My chest had tightened as I looked around, because everything looked safe, calm, real. Then a screen flickered, just one, and on it, room 12, the bed, empty. Then the camera shifted, and I saw it, standing in a room, not broken, not wrong, perfect, standing exactly where I had been standing before, facing the door, waiting. My breath caught, because it looked exactly like me. And in that moment, the final realization settled in, cold and absolute. You don't leave the night shift. You just move to the next room and wait for someone else to take your place.